Golf Podcast, presented by Golficity, where we bring you the tips, instruction, and support you need to get the most out of your golf game. And now your hosts, Frank and Mike.
What's up, Mike? We're back with episode 187. What's new over there?
Not much, man. Just enjoying this amazing fall weather here. Isn't it incredible? Like 85. I think we got like 85 tomorrow. I'm actually playing tomorrow. It's a buddy of mine's like, hey, what are you doing? I have a tee time for 2 at 1:30. And I'm just like, you know what? I looked at Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday's weather, how it's dropping down to the 60s, and I see tomorrow's 85. I'm like, yes, let's do it.
Yep.
Because we're running out of time, and then we're going to be indoors in the simulator. But, that's pretty much what's going on here. Got a round tomorrow, and then President's Cup Friday with you. So pretty stocked, stocked week of all golf. What about
man,
you?
We're moving into that definite bonus golf.
I know.
Time of year where you feel like everything you get in is getting lucky, especially it's getting dark earlier or whatever. But we got out there. I want to talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about when we played Cascades at Crystal Springs. We got to finally ride those golf boards. That was
so
awesome.
Much fun.
Shot a vlog up there. Like you said, we got the President's Cup that you and I are going to be at on Friday. Hopefully this episode will drop after we've been there, but hopefully everyone, is following us on those social media outlets, because we'll try to link up with anybody who's there. Any of the listeners, we'll be posting like where we are. Maybe we'll do a little bit of Instagram live, but pretty much on any of those social platforms, just search Golficity. That's where you're going to find us. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. So a lot of stuff like that, but yeah, good stuff going on. The other thing is we talk about it, I've been trying to work out. I'm trying to get to that mic level where you're crazy,
I could see
man. You're there like 6 days a week now. I don't know if I can get there, but here's the funny joke. Let's just put it out there to put like this baseline of how bad it really is where I'm at right now.
Uh-huh.
So you and I got together over the weekend and we were shooting some funny commercial spots for Golficity that's going to be leading up to Bay Hill, which you're going to be playing in that Pro-Am in March. So those spots are going to come out soon. We just put some funny, quick commercials together for you guys. We had a blast shooting those. But one of them, we had to do some mock exercises. And there's Mike, and he's really squatting with 100 pounds in dumbbells, right? And there's me, and I'm squatting with no weight, right? And I squat for like a minute. Just while the camera's rolling.
Right.
So I call Mike up the next day and I can't move my legs. Like I can't get up and down the stairs. I can't get in and out of my chair. I'm like, I feel like I ran a marathon. That just shows you how out of shape I am. But I'm committed to this. I'm going to get back in shape. My newborn baby she's about 3 months old now. She's finally starting to sleep through the night. So I'm able to slowly get back into my routine. So I'm committed to it. I'm getting up at 5 every morning because it's the only time I could find a little time to do it. I'm going out to the gym. But what's been the lifesaver for me is this, Metabolic Online. We had Matt Phelps 2 episodes ago. That was back in episode, 185. We had Matt on the show. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, go back and check it out, because he's got, he runs a gym up in the Albany area, actually a bunch of gyms. But for people like us who are not there, he's got this online version of it that he's rolled out. It's Metabolic Meltdown on metabolicmeltdown.com/online. Anyway, jump to where it's kind of saved me is I finally carved out the space, the time in my schedule to do a workout. And I've got the motivation, just seeing how much Mike is blowing past me in fitness. And I'm like, all right, I got to get back to that spot. And, the problem I had was I'm like, now I don't know what to do. So if you guys listen to the show, you've heard me a couple of times. I'm asking Mike, I'm like, what should I do? And you were trying to give me some things, but man, this has been a lifesaver because I joined his Facebook group. So he's got a private Facebook group. And what's cool, he joined our Facebook group too, our listener group, which is free. Go to Facebook, just search Golficity or the Golf Podcast. You'll find it. So he's answering people's questions there. But in his group, every day he posts a full video walkthrough of what to do. So it's kind of like being right at the gym. So I just got to watch it. I just see he does demonstration of this, the high intensity circuit training. Mm-hmm. And I just go down to my own gym and just do it. The nice thing is, which is a couple dumbbells is all you need. And I just run through it. So today I did a workout early this morning, feel good. I worked through that pain.
Yeah, good.
I called you last night. I'm like, Mike, I'm sore. I can barely move my legs. Do I work out or not? And you're like, just work through it, man.
Just bust through it, man. So other than looking like crap, how do you feel? I'm sorry, I could see you and no one else can. But it looks like you had a long day with obviously an early morning. So how do you feel that you grinded through it? Do you feel actually better?
I feel good.
Yeah.
I really feel good. On top of that, I'm also feel like, kind of like accomplished. I got my Apple Watch, right? And I never hit my exercise goal on it. And this morning I get a notification before I even got in the shower at 6 a.m. And it's like, you've already hit your exercise goal and the day just started. And I'm like, I took a picture of that. I put it on my Instagram account. I'm like, that feels good. You feel like you go into the day, you've already accomplished something. So that was cool. I'm just going to try to stay on this motivation of getting up. But man, it is pitch dark at 5 a.m.
Oh yeah. It's only going to get colder and darker, right?
I know. Whew. All right. We'll see what I'm made of. I'm just going to keep sticking it out as long as I can.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing it now before it gets really cold, because who knows, you might really get into it. Your body's going to get stronger and you're going to crave it. You're going to need it. And you're going to fight through that cold, those winter months, and you're going to go down there and you're going to do it if you stick with it. So I'm actually excited for you because, yeah, man, just give it those 2 weeks to break through. And I love how Matt kind of guides you, right? Isn't it so easy?
It's so easy because that's the thing. I was so frustrated with saying like, all right, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I'm worried that I'm not going to be working all the different muscle groups or whatever I need to do. So it's just like a quick video. It takes me 5 minutes to watch it. And every single day it's a brand new one. And he also posts a picture of all like the sets and the reps and stuff. So, I mean, it's so easy. I get to a point like I can't have a reason not to. So that's really cool stuff. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to our episode with him, definitely check it out because we also get into Mike's nutrition and some of the stuff that he's done that's really taking that to the next level. So that's cool. Kind of speaking of setting and hitting goals, I always like to mention when some of our listeners in the Facebook group, get to, and just hit those milestones. And one big one that I saw, it was really cool. Daniel Martin Cowell posted, he said, so pipe dream, goal of the season was to shoot, par for 9 and or break 80. And he said, I did both today. Par 70 course, but not bad for, 4 months ago, he was a 16 plus handicap and breaking 80. And then he just says best damn podcast. So that's awesome. Thanks.
Love it.
Appreciate that. And I'm glad. I love hearing that when you guys are getting that, that benefit out of the stuff we talk about here week in and week out. Like we've said since episode 1, Mike and I were not pros. We're in there in the grind, in the struggle with you guys too. And we're learning each week, researching these different topics. A lot of the ones that you guys are sending us and saying, this is what I want to work on. Can you help me with this? And chances are it's something we want to work on too. So we're researching it. We're finding out information. We're talking as pros. We're doing everything we can. And then we try to disseminate that here so you guys can learn from it too. So that's really cool. Let's talk about that vlog too, because that was awesome. We finally got a chance to ride the golf boards. And if you haven't seen these things yet, check out our vlog. Go to youtube.com/golficity and check out our Crystal Springs golf boards vlog. It's like, how would you describe this thing, Mike?
Game changer.
Yeah.
Would be because it's going to be really tough to go back to the traditional golf cart, after this. But I mean, obviously you have to, because not many places carry the golf board. I mean, we were lucky that Crystal Springs had it. I looked at the location map on their website of what courses have it around us. Crystal Springs is really the only one, near us at least. So, it was great. I mean, I had a lot of fun, a little shaky at first. I was a little scared because, he said mine was kind of like the souped up version because I had like the faster version for some reason because it was more like a demo unit, but it was quick. I mean, the first hole was a downhill hole, and here I am flying down the mountain, down the hole, not even really knowing how to use this thing, and I'm shaking back and forth. But what is it? After 2 holes, you get it. It's fun. You jump right on it. We're going in reverse. We're back. We're pros, and it's so cool.
It is really cool.
So cool.
And look, if you haven't seen this thing yet, I mean, just the best way to envision it, it's kind of like, I don't know, an electric skateboard almost, but with bigger wheels. And you operate it like a skateboard or a surfboard or a snowboard, and you just stand on it. It's the way you lean. You hold this handle, and the way you lean, it's got this like thumb control for throttle, and the thing flies. So it's really cool. And you put your golf bag on there, and I think it moves the whole game along, because rather than us being in the same cart and riding back and forth, like you and I could be on opposite sides of the fairway, we just each fly to our ball, hit, and just keep moving. But yeah, I'm on there now too, golfboard.com, and they have it on 250 courses worldwide, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, like you said, I mean, I think there's 15,000 golf courses in the world. So it's only a very small percentage that is covered, but they try to get one in every area. It's growing. So there are ways you can check this thing out and play it. And if you're in like the New York metro area, Crystal Springs, which is in Vernon, New Jersey, is really not a bad ride from the city, and they've got it there, and they've got, I think, 5 different courses, and these are available to play on a handful of them. So when we go back out there and we play like Wild Turkey or something, we're going to have to jump back on them, because now I'm kind of addicted. You know, it was so much fun. So that was a really cool one. The other thing that we got going, obviously the President's Cup. You and I are going there on Friday for the Friday rounds. These outfits we got, man, are ridiculous.
You could talk about them. It's going to be after the fact if you want.
Yeah, the surprise will be ruined by them, because you'll have seen us on Instagram. But we've got the red, white, and blue blazers. We've got, it's just going to be, we're going to try to get ourselves somewhere situated so you see us on TV or something. But otherwise,
you'll see us there
on Instagram and things like that. And hopefully, if you were, now I guess I'm speaking in the future. So
you're speaking in the future, but you know what's cool? We were invited to hit up that Lacoste tent.
Yes,
which we're going to be in that suite pretty much for most of the afternoon, checking out their new apparel. They're actually starting to get big into the golf apparel, so they invited us down there, which is pretty cool. I feel pretty blessed that we're going to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, they're the guys who are suiting everybody up. You know,
exactly.
And even I got the email this morning. They're suiting up even the WAGs, the wives and girlfriends.
Of course.
Have them with and then we saw the guys, you know, the team, you know, on social media all around New York City today, having a blast doing the media rounds, and it looks good. I mean, I wouldn't mind picking up a couple of those polos myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of WAGs, who's the one WAG you'd like to run into Friday?
Yeah, because they're all going to be there, right?
They're all going to be there following their man. I mean, Tori Slater, she's probably up there on my list following, you know, her man, Danny Berger.
Yeah.
Paulina, we'll see Paulina. We'll see even Austin Johnson's girlfriend, I'm sure. Yeah. You know, they'll all be there. That's great. Love it.
They're all going to be there. And it's always funny when there's one that's not and the guys are busting each other's chops. I saw on, I think it was on Snapchat today, where they were all there, all paired up, and it was just Justin Thomas. JT had I guess his girlfriend didn't make it out yet or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And he was saying he was like the 7th wheel.
Yeah.
It's always funny. I know they used to pick on Ricky for that. It's like whoever, then it was Danny Lee for a while. Remember that? There's that hashtag, right, like get Danny Lee a girlfriend or whatever.
Right.
They're always like dogging on whoever the one guy is who's not with somebody. So that's always a laugh. But yeah, I'm really psyched for this, because I've never been to an event like that. You and I, we go to the PGA Tour events, but I haven't been to a Ryder Cup or a President's Cup yet. And it's just a totally different feel. And I can't wait to experience that firsthand, especially right here. It's such an awesome venue. You know, we've been to Liberty National before. I think you've even played it, haven't you?
I played Liberty National once, and it was great. It was phenomenal.
Tough track, but beautiful track. You got the skyline of New York City in the backdrop everywhere you go, the Statue of Liberty. So I think that'll be really cool for the President's Cup, and I'm just psyched. I hope we get some good weather. We'll be out there checking that out. And then tonight, you know, in tonight's episode, we're going to talk about another cool topic is for our instructional piece. We're going to talk about how to shake those putting jitters, you know, nail the pressure putts. I'm sure these guys are going to be faced with plenty of pressure putts, especially when you've got, it's not just you know, when you're kind of playing for yourself on the PGA Tour week in and week out, you know, there's a certain degree of like, okay, if you screw up, you let only yourself down. But when you're in the team environment like that, you know, there's got to be even these guys who live pressure day in and day out have to feel it a little bit more when they realize, you know, their buddy's stake is on the line too.
Right.
You know, so that's going to be something that everybody can relate to. And I want to get to that in a moment. Another thing I want to mention before we do, and we talked about this, I think 2 episodes ago. I mentioned it briefly last week too, because I'm really, really psyched about it. As most of you know, we're big fans of Arcos. You and I both use it. We love using it because it gives us the stats that we can talk about here on the show. And then it gives us something to kind of pick apart and learn those areas of the game where we need to work. If you've been listening to the show, you know, even in the Facebook group, we talk about it often. So we were playing golf with those guys. What was it? Maybe a month or 2 ago, we had a chance to get out there and play with Sal Syed, who's the founder of Arcos. We had him on the show. He's good friends of the show. Great guy, incredibly brilliant dude. Just to kind of recap, it was kind of a funny thing how this came up. I was playing with the Gen 1, the original Arcos, which I love. You know, I thought it was great. But I was kind of craving the new one, the 360. And I was actually impressed with 3 years that thing lasted. I didn't even have to change the batteries. So I'm loving it. And I hadn't really thought about, yet quite moving up to the 360. It kind of like tempted me, but, and I wanted to do it, but I wasn't quite ready to drop an extra. I think it's like $200 or something like that. On the grand scheme of things, really not that bad for what you get. But the guys told me about the trade up program. And I'm like, wait, what's this trade up program? Tell me a little bit more, because if I can get it like for a little bit less money, it's a no brainer. I'm going to jump in right now. Long story short, if you go to arcos.com/trade up, they're running a program right now. I honestly don't know how long this is going to last. So if you're on the fence, jump in and do it now, especially because of the fact that we have that relationship with them. They're even jumping in and giving a little bit extra bonus. If you put in the discount code Golficity, you get an extra $10 that you can get on your trade, towards your Arcos 360. So what they do is very simple. You just take your old golf equipment. In my case, I had the older Arcos, the Gen 1. I traded that in. I got $75 towards a new Arcos, which I was able to get online, and it took the price down $75, which is amazing, because what am I going to do with the old one once I have the new one, right? So I might as well trade it in. But above and beyond that, even if you're just new to Arcos and you want to get in the game with it, so you can talk about stats with us in the Facebook group and things like that, pretty much any of your old golf equipment, it's all valued at something, and it's sitting around. It's gathering dust. I mean, I have it. You have it, Mike. We got, bags of old bags of sticks that we used to use, or like an old Garmin watch, GPS watch or something like that you're just not using anymore. All of it's got a value, and you can see what that value is. You just go to, like I said, arcos.com/trade up. You'll see it's a very easy system. All the major manufacturers are there. Range finders, like I said, GPS watches, clubs, pretty much anything you can imagine. You just click through it, highlight everything you have, everything you're willing to trade up. And right there, they're going to give you a value for it. You print out this receipt is what I did. You print it out. You just box up your equipment, ship it off to them, and they receive everything, and they give you this credit that you can then use to apply and buy an Arcos. If you traded enough stuff, you could probably get one for free, which is wild. And that's exactly what I did. And like I said, you throw that coupon code Golficity in there, get 10 additional bucks. You could bring this thing down to incredibly reasonable price in no time. And then just trust me when I say this, once you have this, you are not turning back. It is amazing the level of statistics that I get on my game out of this Arcos. I couldn't be a bigger fan of it. I just can't imagine playing without it, especially too, Mike, when I play a new course, like when we were playing Cascades and stuff like that. I got it. I want to have it because not only does it give me my stats, it kind of gives me like a memory, because it saves every single round,
every single shot. Yeah.
Every shot of every round. And then like I can see it on my iPhone, or I can even do it they have a dashboard that you can do right on your computer. So I used to be the guy who go into like a clubhouse and like buy the ball to remember it with the logo or something like that. But now it's like all digital. I can look up any round. I can remember it. I see my scorecard in front of me. I see the overlay on the map, of the actual topographical map of every shot. So again, I just want to make sure everyone's aware of the program because it's helped me. I was psyched by it. It's a really cool thing. So again, it's arcos.com/trade up. Check that out. And I want to thank the guys at Arcos for not only making us aware of this, but also kicking in that extra $10 for all of our listeners, because like I said, we work together, and those guys are fans of the show. We're fans of what they do. So we try to, help each other out whenever we can. And that's a big help. So that's really cool. Mike, anything you want to add before we jump into tonight's topic?
No, man. I mean, it's just funny. As you were talking, I went onto the Trade Up site and I started punching in all of the things that I know that I have just sitting in the junk drawer in my garage. Yeah. And get this, I have over $400 of credits. So I can probably get almost 2 Arcos 360s for free here. And like I mentioned, I think we talked about this a couple of shows ago. Like, I want to these are my holiday gifts this year. This is perfect because, like you said, I haven't touched those things in years. It's amazing how many watches, you and I in this business, as a golf media company, we get a lot of stuff sent to us, and we're very fortunate, and we use it, we test it, but it's not for us. You and I are Arcos guys. We use it only. So I don't really have a need for much. I know everyone's probably like, Mike, send it to me. But no, I love this, and it's so damn easy to use, this Trade Up site. It's like step 1, 2, 3, continue, done.
Yep.
It's great.
And you're going to be like the most popular guy in like your office or whatever this year if you're giving Arcos out.
I should be like,
gifts, man. They're not going to forget that,
man, right? Yeah. Only special people are going to get these in my life. I'm not just going to be handing out 360s. Awesome.
Oh, Santa Claus. All right. So really cool. But all right, let's shift gears for a second. Let's start to talk about, some of our instructional piece, because this is another one that, like I said, from the example I gave before, PGA Tour pros down to a beginner golfer, everyone is going to struggle with pressure, especially when it comes to on the green. And really, who better do we have to talk to about this than the man who sunk the $18,000 putt? And if you didn't check that out, definitely go back and watch that vlog episode when we were at that 18 birdies event, and Mike sank the putt that is going to be the ultimate reason why we're going to Bay Hill and playing in that the Pro-Am, which, by the way, Mike just got the email, the specifics, and man, what a trip this is going to be. 4 days, 3 nights in Orlando. They're flying us back and forth. We're going to the what do you call it?
Pro-Am pairing party on Tuesday night.
Pairing party, the Pro-Am.
Awesome.
How cool is that?
Not only the round Wednesday, but then the award dinner that night. And then you and I are going to try to sneak out and play a couple of other courses in the area like the days leading up to it. So it's going to be the trip of a lifetime for sure.
No doubt about it. So that's what being able to nail that pressure putt will get you. So and that one's cool because that one's on video. So we've got evidence of you nailing that one. So again, like I said, pressure, it's going to be in so many different areas. It could be any length putt. It could be a short putt. It could be a long putt, but it's really what's on the line. It could be some money that's on the line you're playing for. It could be just your best round. It could be just to save yourself from having your worst round, whatever it may be. Pressure, it's a big part of the game, but I think it's a part of the game that makes the game great. If you take that away, I know a lot of guys don't want to feel like nervous out there, right? But if you took all that nervousness and anxiety away completely, I feel like the game's going to be a little bit boring. I mean, think about the most special moments that you remember watching golf, as a kid growing up watching the PGA Tour. It was those moments that were the most intense pressure wise, and somebody kind of was able to excel in that moment. If you're our age, it was probably Tiger Woods, but you know what I mean? So you get to that point where it's like, whatever. So you get to, I think if you can find a way to embrace it a little bit, I think that's where you're going to start to say like, okay, that's the first step towards getting through it. So it can, and especially too, if you embrace it, it can stop it from like kind of like sneaking up on you. I've seen that before too, where like all of a sudden it hits you like a ton of bricks, this pressure, like you're walking up to the green and all of a sudden like you just are completely out of it mentally. So there's a lot you can do, but the first step is just working on getting it to a point where you can kind of control your emotions out there. Look, at the end of the day, most times a round is going to be about 4 hours. During that 4 hours, your emotions are going to ebb and flow. There's sometimes you're going to feel real confident, which by the way, we did an entire episode on how to be a little bit more confident in your swing. If you haven't checked that one out, definitely go back and listen to that one, because that one's one we hear a lot of great feedback about. But there's other times you're going to feel nervous. So it's not going to be just all one round where you're anxious from first tee to the last green, or confident from one to the other. Chances are you're going to move through different things as the round progresses. So to play your best, you really want to start to even those emotions out as best as you can. And if you can still stay on that level, playing throughout as much of the round as possible, you're going to have a better chance of performing well. And we watch the very best pros do this. The very best pros are not the ones that are usually extremely emotional guys. It's not the guys you see who are, either flying high or frustrated and slamming clubs. It's usually what out there, at least the most even tempered people. We saw that, with, like I said, an example of Tiger Woods, where even during the most pressure, he was just so locked in. If you go back and watch some of those things, just so locked in. So it's just being able to control those emotions. And some of these guys, unfortunately, they get criticized the other way for almost seemingly being too robotic and not having emotions. But don't forget, there's a certain degree, especially on that level, on that stage, where they need to work on that and train themselves to even out their emotions, because otherwise, if you ride that wave, it can really start to hurt your game. So you don't want to get too high. You don't want to get too low at any point during the round. Just treat each shot as just a single stroke. Remember, that's all it really is. Each shot is just a single stroke, and just move through it. And don't let that snowball effect. You've heard me talk about that before, where it can compound, where one bad shot leads to another and leads to another, because you're starting to get a little bit too emotional about it. So, don't let any given shot become bigger than it really is. Again, that's just going to add more pressure. There's already enough pressure in the game. You don't need to add more, but staying kind of that even keel throughout the day, it's going to help your performance on the greens and pretty much everywhere on the course. And again, I'm not going to get into too many ways in order to control your emotions. There's a lot of different ways to do that. I personally find one big thing that's helped me throughout the years is I've tried to get into like a meditation rhythm, where I try to work that in and try to do 20 minutes of meditation every day. Again, that would be another topic for another time, because there's so much to discuss there. But I find being able to do that and relax and calm the mind, because that's where all this is generated, emotions, everything else is generated in the mind. By being able to just kind of calm that and control it, it translates to other areas of my life. One big one being out on the course. So that's my own personal thing. And we should probably at some point do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that can really help.
Yeah, no, for sure. The one thing that I've been really consistent with, especially this season, is in my pre-shot routine, and you've probably noticed this just playing with me, that I will always take a deep breath, whether it's on the tee box, in the fairway, in the bunker, or especially over a putt. Yep. So when I line things up, that's just my last, all right, just relax, Mike. Just take it easy, take it smooth. And also with that, I've noticed that if I hover over the ball at address too long and think about too much and try to do too much and try to do a waggle or try to, do something new, then I always just end up messing up my rhythm, messing up my shot. I find that I'm better off just taking that deep breath, being quick, not rushed, but being a little quick. I know what I need to do, get up to the ball, dress it, pull it back, and swing in a very nice rhythmic way. And that's actually worked wonders. That's taken a lot of the pressure off me out on the course. Definitely has worked.
Yeah, and that is such a good point to bring up, because it's a big part of the pre-shot routine, which I can't believe this, but when we did an episode on that, it's all the way back to episode 16. That's like almost 3.5 years ago. We may have to bring that one back up and readdress that one, because that's a good one. And by the way, you can listen to every single one of those episodes free by going to golficity.com/the golf podcast. And it's a reason. The reason I bring that up is because I know a lot of people want to listen to the old episodes, and iTunes and some of those other podcast sites only play the last 50 episodes or so. So if you want to go all the way back, just go to golficity.com, just click on podcasts at the top, and you'll take you right there. But pre-shot routine, that's a big thing. And that's a big way to kind of help. And we talk about it being like a lot like in basketball, taking a foul shot, how you do the same thing every time. You're able to kind of get that routine. down and kind of like settle into the motions rather than getting too locked up in your mind. I do the same type of thing, Mike, when I take one big deep breath. I do a couple of deep breaths during my pre-shot routine, but then I take one big one before I step up there. And that really helps to like shake out those physical, jitters that might be there or any tension you're holding. Another big thing to understand is that when you do have that pressure on, one of the first things to go is your rhythm. And rhythm is so important. We talk about rhythm, tempo. And what'll happen is, especially on the putting green, is instead of taking that smooth flowing putting stroke through the ball, a lot of times you end up rushing and jabbing at the ball just to kind of subconsciously get that moment over with, because we feel uncomfortable when we're under pressure. So we try to get that over with and move through it. And it's going to be very hard to make your putts when you've lost that rhythm. It's also hard to make putts if you never had a rhythm to begin with. So
right.
Great thing to do before you start your round, just spend a couple of minutes on the practice putting green, just developing that nice tempo for the day. And a lot of players, make the mistake of only warming up on the short putts, but you want to hit a couple of those long lag putts as well, so you get the rhythm down for the different types of strokes. But rolling those long putts across the green is going to help you get that smooth, nice rhythm. You're not punching at it to get it there. And then just work on carrying that out there, taking that breath, as you said, and then just sticking with that rhythm. And as soon as you start to, again, it's awareness, being aware of it. As soon as you start to be aware that you're punching it, slapping at the ball, whatever, and you're getting out of your rhythm, notice it, and then just work your way back. Just guide your mind back to a good rhythm. Very similar in that vein is keeping, your grip relaxed. And one of the biggest keys to putting under pressure, it's very often, it's a kind of a simple thing that's very often overlooked. And that's just, that nice relaxed grip. Because if you feel yourself getting, a little bit tight before that big putt, and that's kind of like almost a fight or flight response. Like it just kind of happens naturally. We just kind of stiffen up when we feel pressure. And the first place you can kind of usually notice that is in the hands, sometimes in the forearms. You feel that tension moving up. And if you do, it's also about just kind of like that mental checklist. Again, a great thing to be part of your pre-shot routine, even on the putting surface, still a pre-shot routine, is just checking in. Just take 1 second somewhere in that routine and just check in with your hands and see where they are. Because sometimes you don't even notice it until after the putt or something like that. Subconsciously, you realize, I was death gripping that putt.
Right.
And that's where you just want to kind of just like lighten it up a little bit. And if you do that, it's going to really help you swing that club freely back and through. And your tempo will really help be protected by it. So if you allow yourself to squeeze the grip, as a result of nerves, your rhythm is going to be ruined. And that's where you're going to find it really hard to get that nice roll. You need that light grip. So that's an important one. And another one too is really committing yourself to the read. We did another whole episode on reading the green. We did episode 135, for example, was on long putts with multiple breaks and how to get that read. And we've touched on it in a lot of different episodes. But the thing is, go through your process, and I won't talk about all that here because it's another whole topic, but go through that process of making your read. But then as you hear us talk about often, which is strategy and then execution, that's the strategy, but then you got to switch over to execution. At that point, lock in the strategy. Don't go backwards and start second guessing yourself. If you're standing over that ball, trust me on this, and you're still wondering about the line, you're really never going to make your best stroke. That's where you're going to have that non-confident kind of like hesitation. Like I said, slapping at it, leaving it short, doing something like that. So just take a moment, read that putt from a number of angles. Don't rush this. This way you will feel more confident in the read, because a lot of times not having confidence is because you rushed your read. Get as good a read as you can. And then once you do have confidence, that's the read, and just work with it. This is where a lot of people get picked up. So you don't want to storm up to the ball, hit your putt as quick as possible. Again, that's something that could be either consciously or subconsciously done. When you're nervous, you just kind of want to get it over with. So you just kind of run up there. I see this a lot when it's a pressure putt, because the fact that it's something that you like, it's a birdie or for eagle, something that you don't often make. And you just kind of like run up and you just want to finish the hole and you just want to get it done. You want to do it rather than, sometimes people feel like the longer they're over it, the more the pressure builds. that's where instead I'm saying, instead of just spending that time thinking and mulling and worrying about it, use that time to put a really good read on it and then commit yourself to that. So after you get that, that speed and brakes read, just go out there with confidence and just make the best stroke you can. At that point, you've done everything you can to make the putt, and it's just, whether it drops or not, but there's a much better chance of it dropping if you've gone through that process.
A couple weeks ago, Frank, I just wanted to mention this. I played a round with a buddy of mine, and it was a par 5. It was a short par 5. It was like 475. I striped my drive right down the middle, high 200s, and I recall, I think I was like 235 left, and I took out that little 2 Nike Covert Hybrid that I have, and I hit it perfect. I hit it to about 5 or 6 feet. This was on Snapchat. I even had my buddy record the putt because I've never really made an eagle. Get that. All the golf that I play in my life, I have never had it. I've had so many chances, but the pressure has taken over. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because on that particular putt 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, I had the weight of the world on my shoulders because I had to wait for the guy who was off the green to chip up. And the other guy he was like a 30-footer, I had to wait for him to line it up. And like I was just sitting around waiting. And I know that's part of the game because it's etiquette, who's furthest away, blah, blah, blah. But by the time I got up over that ball, I just totally just yanked it right. And I was like, oh, I mean, the tap in birdie was nice. But
yeah. It's funny too that you say that, because you do get a lot of eagle chances because of your distance. On those par 5s, you're on and 2 a lot.
And it blows a lot of people's mind, especially people that I play with often. They're like, "How do you never have an eagle?" Because I can't deal with the pressure.
But giving you the benefit of the doubt, though, like those are usually not short putts.
No, I mean
eagle putts are usually not tight to the pin.
Nah, the one recently was like maybe 6 or 7 feet or so. I mean, it was a tough breaker, but that was probably my closest eagle opportunity in a long time. The other ones were all long ones. You're right.
All right. Well, listen, post some pictures in the Facebook group the moment you sink.
The moment I get it.
Yeah. Because it's got to be common. And look, you can use these tips. There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff we're talking about tonight and be able to do it. So that's a big thing. Lastly, last big point I want to hit on as this part of where we're talking here about nailing those pressure putts is just working on accepting the outcome. Because this is, again, we talk about golf being a frustrating game. Yeah, it absolutely is. And the more you let that kind of just get you more and more frustrated, the more you're going to just, I guess, the snowball effect, just want to get away from the game. And that's just moving in the wrong direction. And look, the reality is you're going to miss some putts. When was the last time you finished a round with 18 putts? Chances are never. So putting is difficult and you're sure to miss some of them. And it's important to keep that in mind because a lot of golfers, they expect perfection on the greens, for some reason, even though perfection, it's something that's never really attainable in golf. So all you can do in a pressure putt is just, like I said, make that good read, make that good stroke, and that's it. By following these tips we're talking about here, you're eliminating a lot of different degrees of possible error. And you're giving yourself the best chance to make that putt, but it doesn't mean it's always going to happen. Again, it doesn't even happen for the best players in the world. And you see those guys, they spend pretty much more time practicing on the putting surfaces than I see them practicing anywhere else. So putting under pressure, it can be tough. It can be daunting. It can also be exciting. So use these tips. And also another tip that it's not in here, but it's something I say often, simulate pressure in your practice. If your practice is, practice sessions are just way too relaxed, you're going to end up being unfamiliar with pressure. The more familiar you are with it, the better you're going to do when you actually face it out there. And a great way to do that is to set up different putting drills that in some way simulate it where you have to make it. Rather than just mindlessly just putting some balls at the hole, set it up where you're like, I have to make 5 in a row before I can call it quits for the day. Trust me, once you drain 4, you're going to feel some pressure on that 5th putt. And you're going to feel more frustrated as you miss them. And it's all of a sudden, the sun's going down or whatever, or you got to get out and, you're going to be late for your date or something like that. You're going to feel some pressure, and that's where you're going to be able to do it. Or who knows, have a little putting contest with your buddies before you go out there. And then you feel that simulated competition pressure, put $1 on the line. I don't know. Put a beer on the line. Do something like that.
That's exactly what you and I did when we played with the boys at Arcos. Remember, we were about to tee off. You're like, let's do a quick closest to the hole on the putting green.
That's right.
And you're absolutely right. I love that.
And it's good because it simulates it. The more you face it, the more comfortable you'll be with it. And that's why these guys on the PGA Tour are seemingly so comfortable with pressure, because they face it every single week. They're up against it. So, and I mean, that's their livelihood. They have to play well. They have to make those putts. So that's where you're going to start to see that. And as you become more comfortable with it, it'll even leak into other areas of your life, man. You'll start to see confidence in other areas where you start to like embrace pressure, because we all feel pressure at work, pressure at home. And then you start to feel that. So that's a really good one. Mm-hmm. Mike, anything else on this topic before we wrap it up?
No, not at all. I mean, if I could just put a ribbon on it, or a bow on it, I should say, I want to bring it all the way back to what you said in the beginning. If I know this is going to air on Sunday, the final day of the President's Cup, but if you happen to wake up early and listen, and then you're able to watch it later on, you're right. These guys on tour, it's one thing to let themselves down, but they don't want to let their teams down, like you said. So if you want to see what it's like for these guys to hit pressure putts or stand over pressure putts, these are the events to watch it. And if you miss it, go back and watch some President's Cup highlights. Go look at some old Ryder Cup highlights. But just to watch how they overcome it, try to watch some of their pre-shot routines, when they're putting under pressure and things like that. And you can learn a lot. You definitely can. And we've always talked about how we go to these events inside the ropes and we watch these guys firsthand, and we learn so much. And if you want to learn a little bit about pressure, definitely watch these types of events for sure.
No doubt about it. There's a lot you can learn from that. Okay, so just very briefly before we wrap up, today's episode, I like to, wherever I can, kind of highlight and give some shout outs to some of the cool stuff going on in our Facebook group, which again, it's free to get into. Just go to Facebook. On Facebook, just search the Golf Podcast. You're going to see our group pop up. Just join it. And again, I apologize when I butcher you guys' names. I'm going to do my best with this one here. Sharon Paul Sekton, Sekhon. I probably butchered your name. I apologize, dude. But how funny is this? He posted the other day, and he's kind of one of the avid guys in the group. We hear from him a lot. And he said, he did 21 hours of driving over the weekend. He said, while listening to my favorite podcast, the Golf Podcast. Dude, I don't think I could listen to myself for 21 hours.
You definitely can't. No way.
So
no way.
Good on you. That's pretty good. I think my wife would get out of the car.
Yeah, seriously. After one episode,
if she had to hear me for 21 hours, but that's so cool. I saw that and I'm like, oh, I gotta mention that here. But, just some really cool, funny stuff that you guys have been posting in the group, and, keep it coming. Cause it keeps me entertained, especially, sometimes at work, it's just like, just gets me through the day. I get a laugh. I get a notification on my phone, something's going on in the group, and I see some of this stuff, and it's just awesome. So, that was a cool one. All right, Mike.
Yeah, I love seeing that.
That's everything we have. You're hitting the course tomorrow. Good luck with that. And then I'm going to see
tomorrow.
You on Friday morning, bright and early, man.
Listen, don't be late, man, because we're going to get right there, front and center, first tee. We're going to watch all our boys go off, and we're going to be dressed like imbeciles. It's going to be fun.
No doubt about it. Yeah. So I hope everybody's following along on Facebook and on Instagram. All right, that's everything we have for you guys. We will catch up with you all again next week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you then.